everybody, I have with me Harsha from Ascendance. Yes, I'm so grateful to have you here today. Harsha, can you please share with me a bit of your background, as in, where you're from, maybe you studied primary school, high school, up to, university or something, a bit of your background.
So I'm actually a current student, but I'm also the CEO and co-founder of Ascendance. It is a youth-led social enterprise that works with over 50,000 students globally to create experiential learning opportunities for students to learn entrepreneurship, financial literacy, sustainability, and so on. And I've been doing this for the last 8 years. So I started when I was 13 with a couple of friends, and over the last few years have built it to a global initiative that it is today. So I started off as a student, born in Johor, moved to KL, grew up in Kota Kemuning, and today continue being a student at the University of Pennsylvania, where I do my bachelor's degree, and am an undergrad at the university, which is today home to the Wharton Business School, the #1 business university in the world.
Would you mind sharing with me, as in, how is it like growing up? You're saying that you grew up in Kota Kemuning.
Mm-hmm.
How is it growing up? As in, you have how many siblings and all, and then after that, how did you even had the idea to start this at the age of 13?
So I was very fortunate. I grew up with an amazing mother. So she was a single mother. When I was 11, she quit her job to start her own social enterprise. And she really started from scratch, from corporate job to handing out flyers in malls to get started in a business and so on. And my sister and I only have one elder sister. We were just following her around for all of her different events, activities, going out there and meeting people. And naturally, she met a business incubator in Kuala Lumpur called EK Ideas that was very kind and receptive to new entrepreneurs starting. So my entrepreneur journey started actually by just following my mom around at that young age. And by virtue of spending time with the entrepreneurs that she was spending her time with, naturally, I think I started learning a lot more about what it meant to be an entrepreneur. What were the skills? What were the things that entrepreneurs did on a day-to-day basis? And they were nice enough to give me the odd projects to work on, the odd events to attend. And from there, I slowly started seeing the value of those experiences that I was getting that transformed me from a very shy, unconfident, quiet kid to a top scorer, able to talk a little better now. And from there, being able to, start seeing that value and converting it into a social enterprise of my own.
What is the one big thing that you did to make you so successful today?
I would say, very honestly, again, I started my social enterprise at 13. So I would not claim credit to any success or that I knew, what was one or two things that made it successful. But what really pushed us to, in 8 years, turning an idea run by students into one of the leading youth-led enterprises across Southeast Asia has always been our environment, has been spending time with people who are kind, who are successful in turn, and who are just willing to guide and teach and be there for you. And having that kind of environment of people has been a great resource for me. And that's why I love, events like this, because you get to meet other entrepreneurs, you get to meet people who are also passionate about, just building this community of entrepreneurs, of small and medium business owners. And I just think, I benefited a lot, and I, learned a lot from this similar communities. And I think there's so much value in other people being able to spend time in these kind of environments.
Would you be able to share a bit more about what is your company is doing? Maybe I think I would like to hear more of it so that the audience there can actually understand exactly what are the things that you're doing actually.
So Ascendance, as I mentioned, we are a social enterprise fully run by students as young as 8 to 25. And what we do is we create experiential learning programs, opportunities, and project-based learning situations where everyday students can attend and go through it to figure out what it is they love doing, get real-world hands-on experiences to build their skills, and eventually start their own social enterprises themselves. So we work with students who are normally at-risk students, or students that are, not the mainstream top-of-the-class students, and we slowly help them develop those capacities. So give them industry exposure, connect them to everyone from Fortune 500, directors at companies like Meta, Google, Amazon, learn about the world around them, and then eventually transition them into giving them their own project, listening to what are the things that they want to work on, pairing them with startups, getting them to run their own social businesses, and eventually in that third phase, incubating them to continue that on so that they can have a sustainable career for themselves while they're in school that earns them money, that is in an area they love, and at the same time goes out there and contributes to the community. So just last year, we incubated 40 social enterprises that are fully run by Gen Zs as young as 13 to 17 themselves. And that is what we've been doing for the last 8 years, giving students the opportunity to gain economic mobility through hand-holding them, through the exposure, the experiences, so that they can launch, run sustainable businesses.
Will you be able to share one of the projects?
Yeah, so like for instance, if we just look back at the last year, one of the most exciting startups that I saw was actually from this group of students in Kuantan, where they actually started learning just from their own backyard, how do you actually learn to purify waste oil, and began going around to kitchens, areas around them to collect waste oil and turn them into products such as candles and so on, that they later started reselling and actually made a decent amount of profit and revenue from their sales. So they came up with a whole brand strategy within 6 months. They came up with an execution plan. They went to their school labs and made the products themselves and did the refinery process and actually launched and executed that business and are still going on until today. So similarly like that, in the last few years, we've seen today 21-year-olds run their own graphic design studios with over 80 clients, 4 published books under them. We've seen, 19-year-olds write their own, novels, get published as authors as well. And just a variety of industries, that these students are tapping into, from STEM to accounts to arts and even more.
So what is your role in this? What do you do with them? And then how do you help them to be successful?
So as I said, we do every step of the process. So we identify kids who are, usually middle to last class students who have no idea, what it is that they are passionate about. And the first thing we do is exposure. So we actually have over 200 live events, workshops, programs that these students can attend to open up their minds. So if a kid says, I think every Gen Z says they want to be a YouTuber, right? Very normal.
Yep.
So we actually have sessions from people like Jin Hao Tan, like Singapore's #1 YouTuber. We've had, previously the head of YouTube Originals from California run a session with us. So students go through almost weekly programming, which they can choose, all done by world-class industry experts to open up their minds to the reality of these industries. And it's not just in content creation, it's everything from finance to manufacturing to even F&B to running businesses in STEM, the sciences. And as they get that exposure, we again transition them into programs like our apprenticeship program, where they actually say, hold on, I have this skill, or I maybe like video production, or I like management, I like running events. And then we give them opportunities to actually test out those skills. So we give them, for instance, we have a conference coming up, 20,000 people are expected to attend. You 13-year-old are now in charge of segment 2, 3, and 4. What are you going to do? So they get to apply all of those skills from leadership, time management, coordination, doing schedules, and so on in a real world project. And as they build those skills, they start seeing, by working in different industries, what are their talents? What are the things that interest them? And from there, we help them pick those, nuances in the industries that they like and start carving out social enterprises for themselves that they can later grow, as I mentioned earlier.
Would you be able to share a bit of the company milestone, as in, when you first started, how many of you were you probably you and your mom and your sister, and then to where you are today, and how many lives you have touched, and how many people that you have made who are successful today?
Thank you so much. When we first started, it was me, my sister Hira, and 2 other co-founders that were Madhura and Sanit. And over the last 8 years, we've literally grown up on one hand, but we've also seen the company grow itself. So today we work with over 50,000 students. We have worked in 26 different countries, running in-person programs in about 5 countries, and having 26 countries that we interact globally. At the same time, we also have received the Diana Award for Social Action and Humanitarian Work in 2019. This year, one of our co-founders was awarded the Commonwealth Youth Award Regional Finalist for contributions towards, SDG 4 of quality education. And today we work with Fortune 500 companies. We work with Ivy League universities such as Harvard and Princeton and so on. And we even have a team in the US that runs to expand what we do in that part of the world, really creating programs and creating experiences for students to experience what the world has to offer and contextualize that in their own areas. So as I said, this year alone, we produced 40 student-run social enterprises. That is a huge milestone to see some of our programs be able to work at scale. And we also, since 2018, have been fortunate to work with the Ministry of Education to run all of these programs in public schools here in Malaysia as well.
Did having someone guide you make a difference? And how can regular folks or someone to help them out actually?
Having someone to guide me made the world of difference. I always joke that I myself am completely unremarkable, but I was fortunate to have amazing mentors, amazing advisors who were very kind to take me under their wing and be there every step of the way, whether I needed someone to talk to or call when I was facing, a struggle in work, or whether it was helping me brainstorm what I can be doing better. So having an advisor, having mentors, having people are so essential to the entrepreneurial journey. And for those who are looking for your crowd, I think, as I said earlier, there are already organizations like this that are putting together networks of people, that are putting together opportunities to meet, connect, and network. That's what Ascendance does as well. And the most important thing is to be bold and reach out to them and explain your story, explain your dreams. And as long as you keep meeting as many people as you can, you will find someone that resonates with what you do. And on your end, make sure that that person, that you are learning from also has the lifestyle, the success, the achievements that you want to see reflected in your own life. And as you keep putting yourself out there, it's impossible not to find your crowd.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Harsha, for spending your time with me.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing all your success story and some of the tips. I'm sure you have heard a lot of the tips that she has shared in this particular interview. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.